Have you ever been stuck trying to submit a form, only to find that the value you need is missing? It's frustrating, right? If that's you, then you're in the right place. Today, we're going to tackle how to access the value of a disabled input in Angular. I completely understand how annoying it is when you think you've set everything up correctly, only to discover that the value you need isn't being submitted. You're definitely not alone in this. Many developers face this issue when working with reactive forms in Angular. Here's the specific situation we're looking at. One user recently asked, "How can I access the value of a disabled input in Angular?" They mentioned that they set up their form correctly, but when they submitted it, the value from the disabled input was missing. Sound familiar? Let's dive into this together and find a solution. So what could be causing this? In Angular, when an input is disabled, its value is not included in the form submission. This is by design, as disabled inputs are not meant to be submitted. But don't worry, there are ways to work around this limitation. And stick around, I've got a great workaround at the end that will help you access the value of that disabled input without any hassle. To access the value of a disabled input in Angular, the user should first understand that disabled form controls do not get included in the form's value when submitted. Therefore, we need to handle this manually. The user can achieve this by creating a separate variable to hold the value of the disabled input. This variable can then be included in the form submission process. Next, when the user submits the form, they should combine the value from the disabled input with the rest of the form data. This can be done in the submit handler function. Finally, the user should ensure that the form submission logic correctly sends the combined data to the desired endpoint or service. Fun fact, did you know that the concept of disabled inputs in forms dates back to the early days of web development? It's a simple yet effective way to control user input. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution suggests that instead of using the disable method on your form control, you can manage the disabled state directly in your HTML. By using the attribute binding for disabled, you can ensure the value is still submitted. Here's the pro tip I promised. Always keep track of your disabled input values in a separate variable. This habit can save you from a lot of headaches in the future. And there you have it. You should now be able to access the value of your disabled input without any trouble. Remember, keeping track of your values is key. If you found this helpful, hit the subscribe button for more tips, and don't miss our next video on Angular best practices.